Hi, I'm Robert Osborne. Walter Pidgeon is front and center this August Thursday, and as with the film we just showed, Madame Curie, our next movie also teams Walter with his favorite leading lady, Greer Garson. Now, Pidgeon and Garson were one of the great screen teams. They made a total of 9 films together between 1941 and 1953. All of them noble efforts, a few of them genuine blockbusters, but none more popular or more praised than our next film, which is from MGM in 1942. It's Mrs. Miniver, an overwhelming success at the box office, but also a film with considerable significance to America in World War II. It literally taught our country, which had newly been plunged into a war, how to live in the midst of a war. This movie taught them that, yes, being at war would greatly affect them, but life would still go on. The film is based on a book by Jan Struther, which was turned into a screenplay by several writers, including the celebrated James Hilton. And the movie, indeed, was a blockbuster, going on to win 6 Academy Awards, including one for Best Picture of the Year and one for Greer Garson as Best Actress. Ironically, for all her success, though, in this film, Mrs. Miniver, it wasn't a role she wanted to play. It had first been offered to Norma Shear, who didn't want to do it, for pretty much the same reason Greer Garson didn't want to do it. Norma was 41. She didn't want to play the mother of a grown son, as the story requires. According to studio publicity, Greer was only 34 years old, but she was actually closer to Norma's age, 41, but Greer wasn't keen about playing the mother of a grown-up son either. But at that point, Greer Garson didn't have the clout that Norma did at MGM, so Greer wasn't able to get out of it, and she did the role reluctantly, and because of it, became the most popular female star in the movies. Not only that year, but for several years to come. This marked her second film with Walter Pidgeon. The two of them also had co-starred the year before in MGM's Blossoms in the Dust. So when they made this movie about the Minivers, they weren't really yet a bona fide team. But after this film, they were, which delighted them both. So with Oscar-winning direction by William Wyler and a supporting performance by Teresa Wright, which won her an Academy Award, we bring you from MGM in 1942, Mrs. Miniver. The world fell in love with the Minivers thanks to this movie, and for years after, mail poured into the MGM studios pleading for a sequel. Now, in those days, you know, sequels weren't so common, certainly not for first-rate films like Mrs. Miniver. Sequels were pretty much relegated back then to movies where the title may be Son of or Return of, as in Son of Frankenstein, Son of Lassie, or The Return of Frank James, or Dracula's Daughter. But in 1945, The Bells of St. Mary's had come out. It was a sequel to the 1944 Oscar winner Going My Way, so MGM began thinking, maybe a Miniver sequel might work. Well, it finally happened in 1950 when the studio began finding it hard to find stories to fit Greer Garson and Walter Pidgeon as a team. The result was a movie called The Miniver Story, but it was a disaster, lacking every element that had made the original film so likable. After that, there was never talk about resurrecting the Minivers again. Up next, Walter Pidgeon, this time in a landmark sci-fi drama, made 14 years after he played Clem Miniver for the first time. In this sci-fi excursion, he co-stars with Leslie Nielsen, Anne Francis, and a robot named Robbie.